Hey guys, Marcus Kacken from Blindside Football, back for another daily fantasy update. Yesterday we recapped the early games, so today let's recap some of those late games for you, the 4 o'clock games, and then obviously the Sunday night game. Let's start off over with the Falcons here. Julio Jones, 10 catches, 189 yards and a touchdown, career high in receiving yards. Actually, it was very surprising for me to see him do quite so good. No Roddy White in this one, so you expected maybe the extra targets, the extra workload, but you figured Patrick Peterson would be on him all game. And Patrick Peterson, although he hasn't been himself this season, figured you'd still kind of hold Julio Jones down a little bit and maybe, if Julio was lucky, crack 100 yards. But like I said, a career high in yards now, 189 receiving yards. It seems like Julio's back, guys. I mean, this is 2 games in a row now that he's been producing. And even Harry Douglas gets into the mix, 9 catches for 116 yards, filling in for Roddy White. So, I mean, the whole Atlanta offense just kind of went off in this game. Even Steven Jackson got in the mix. A tough Arizona run defense has been shutting down some really good running backs lately. And Steven Jackson, 18 carries for 101 rushing yards. So, hey, maybe this Atlanta team finally gets things back on track and gets things moving. Other side of the ball in Arizona here, Andre Ellington, has a hip pointer. The injury is not expected to be serious, but God, I was already getting really down on Andre Ellington, guys. Hasn't been himself as of late. Was averaging just 1.89 yards per carry over the last 3 games heading into this one. Finishes with 5 carries for 12 yards in this. The hip pointer, the bad playoff schedule for him, fantasy playoff schedule for him. I'm really worried about Andre Ellington, and I'm seeing him more as a low-end running back too now moving forward. New England, LeGarrette Blount, he's the running back you want to own in New England, it seems. I mean, besides maybe Shane Vereen, but Jonas Gray, just 2 snaps in this game, has really fallen out of favor with Bill Belichick. Meanwhile, Blount, the old reliable guy that Belichick knows and loves, 10 carries for 58 yards. Nothing too exciting there, but if you're going to own a New England running back, I think it's LeGarrette Blount. Brandon LaFell showing that he's still kind of that red zone target. 5 catches for just 38 yards, but 2 touchdowns. Julian Edelman obviously still getting the receptions, and Gronkowski obviously is a beast and getting the receptions and the yards as well. Those guys will always be there, but LaFell seems to be a red zone favorite when not targeting Gronkowski. Eddie Lacy now, back-to-back games with over 20 carries. We haven't seen him really get that kind of workload at all in the beginning part of the season, so maybe this is what they were planning for. Rest him up at the beginning of the season and then rely on him down the stretch once the weather gets cold. And he's been a running back 1 for me, obviously, throughout these last few weeks, but he's starting to approach that probably top 5 running back territory. He's getting the usage. He's been scoring the touchdowns. He's been, heavily involved in the passing game, so what's not to love right now about Eddie Lacy? Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, obviously they get theirs in. But Davante Adams, 6 catches for 121 yards. He's been quietly producing very well for the Packers. And should we see any type of injury to Randall Cobb or Jordy Nelson, Davante Adams is going to have significant fantasy value. I think if you have Randall Cobb or if you have Jordy Nelson heading into your fantasy playoffs, Davante Adams is kind of your handcuff for your wide receiver. Like I said, he's going to have significant value if either one of those guys gets hurt. Over for the Broncos, C.J. Anderson. Wow, speaking of significant fantasy value, these last couple of weeks, it's starting to make me really nervous as to if Ronnie Hillman will regain that job back when he's healthy, or if Monte Ball will even have any sort of workload in Denver when he's back. Monte Ball, I almost think at this point, is completely droppable. If he hasn't already been dropped in your leagues, I've been kind of holding on to him, but God, it just seems like any running back in Denver can do better than Monte Ball. Monte Ball is Denver's Trent Richardson, it seems. That high draft pick, has a lot of hype, but just can't produce. C.J. Anderson in this one, like I said, 32 carries, 168 rushing yards, 2 receptions, 17 more receiving yards, and a receiving touchdown. Dude just on fire. He has just taken over right where Ronnie Hillman left off and has been a strong running back 1 for these last couple weeks.